Good evening and welcome back to our home. We're glad you've joined us tonight for our Advent candle lighting time. This will be posted on the Facebook page immediately after the service tonight, and will be on the church's website tomorrow, so you can pick it up in either way if you haven't had an opportunity, or if you could tell a friend and hopefully they'll join along too. It was many years ago. My mother was bemoaning the fact that no one was coming for Christmas. And this went on for days. And I said, Mom, who isn't coming for Christmas? And she came up with a list of people, all of whom had died. And I said, well, don't they have a nerve to die and ruin your Christmas? She laughed a little, but I understood exactly what she was talking about. It would not be the same without certain people at the table, certain folks doing what it was we always did. One of our elders, Susie Hartig, came up with a brilliant idea, I think. And so next Monday evening at 7 o'clock, on the longest night of the year, the night of the winter solstice, we will gather on the church webpage and here on Facebook Live for a special service, the longest night service, where we face the frailties of our season and face the frailties of our own lives. So that'll be coming up. We'll have some more information about that for you. This can be a very difficult time of year, a painful time of year. Loved ones that we're accustomed to having at the table won't be there this year for one reason or another. We can't ever escape the climbing toll of COVID-19 on our lives. Nothing is as it was. No one's coming for Christmas this year. Owning that pain and realizing the grief that's involved, it's part of who we are. And so I hope that you'll join with me as I read this little passage from John Candlelighting's book, Slow, an Honest Advent Devotional. He begins with this passage from Romans. And we boast in the hope of the glory of God. Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. Candlelighting writes, the day our first child, Noah, was born, I remember our getting ready to head to the hospital. We'd been preparing for this moment for the previous 9 months, faithfully attending our doctor's visits and preparatory classes, making all the renovations to the house and packing the bags we'd need to depart. That morning we were ready, or so we thought. My wife's contractions were becoming more frequent and intense as we gathered up our things, and I could see her movements becoming more labored, no pun intended, by the minute. She was clearly uncomfortable, but she was managing. Then, in a flash, a cannon-like shout exploded from her mouth, and she dropped to her knees on the kitchen floor. Are you all right? I asked, as I held out my hand to lift her up, still in shock. Yes, I'm fine, she said, as she caught her breath, but quickly turned toward me and added, you were laughing, weren't you? I couldn't lie. I was. Not because she was in pain, of course, but because the severity of it was sobering, and my laughter was a coping mechanism in the face of some serious awe. It was as if the gravity of the moment was clear in a way it hadn't been before. This would be a beautiful and difficult day. As much joy as there is in this season, pain is usually present as well. A bit of grief or a measure of sadness that always tempers our celebration. We can spend a good deal of time trying to deny or hide from the unpleasantness as if it is somehow an intrusion, but that isn't necessary. Instead, we can be aware that just as it did in the moment of Jesus' arrival, pain is birthing something in us, and we can welcome it too. One of the great things about being the community of God's people is that we can share in that pain with one another. From time to time can help carry the burden of it. And I hope you'll reach out to those who will be sensing that pain this year and share with them your good word, your good action. So, we're ready to light the third of the candles. This is in the tradition of the higher church, a Sunday known as Gaudete Sunday, the Sunday of joy. And if you're accustomed to it, this is when there would be a pink candle on the Advent wreath, reminding us that we're turning the corner now, we're halfway through. So, even in the midst of pain, we light the candle with joy as we prepare in some new way for the coming of Christ in new and greater ways. I thought tonight we'd try to sing one verse of an old German carol. The Bells played it this morning. Robert played it on last Wednesday's evening prayer service in a setting by Johannes Brahms. This is Lo, How a Rose Ere Blooming. It's a little strange, but I think you'll remember how it's sung. And if you have a Mannheim Steamroller recording, you can listen to it on there as well. Lo, how a rose ere blooming from tender stem hath sprung. And I've just forgotten the words. Of Jesse's lineage coming, as those of old have sung, it came a floweret bright amid the cold of winter, when half spent was the night. I'm glad you could be with us tonight. I hope your candles are burning. We'll see you on Wednesday at 5:30 Central Time for evening prayer. Next Sunday morning, 8:30 and 10:30 Central Time. Robert will provide music at the midday, noon at Central Time on Thursday. And we'll be together next Monday night for the longest night service at 7 p.m. Central. Blessings, have a great night, and we'll see you soon.